Hello and welcome to round 17 of my Steps to Success career mode, and as you can tell I'm pretty happy right now. My internet has just been sorted and we're also here for Suzuka, one of my least favourite circuits, but you know, we'll carry on with it. And in today's episode we have a few driver changes. So we've got Kimi Raikkonen to Haas and Romain Grosjean to Alfa Romeo, so that's going to be exciting. The weather looks good for today and we've got one failure for the tyre wear in the chassis, but we have got some ERS cooling on the car, so that will help our ERS deployment. And yeah, it's a really good circuit around here in Japan. We're going to have fresh components everywhere, so we will be starting from the back of the grid no matter what. The championship looks like this. We're in 7th place, Williams is in 5th place, so looking good for the championship for the time being. And yeah, you know what, we're going to get into it now and let's see what we can do in qualifying. So here we are for the hot lap round Suzuka track, and we're going down the front straight now. DRS is open, we're in overtake mode, and going through this first corner really awkward because you have to brake whilst turning through this corner. You want to try and keep the steering wheel as straight as possible whilst you're braking. Got a bit of oversteer going through turn 2, and 3 is okay, but we do get loads of snaps of oversteer, and this is really exciting to see because we're going to be starting from the back of the grid no matter what, and so far we're doing a pretty good job. And now moving on to the final sector, and we're in P7 at the moment. Going to the final chicane, we brake very late, and we brake too late, and we've messed up all the exits through the final. We get tons of oversteer going through. We hit the bump really badly. Lewis Hamilton crosses the line in first, and we come home 11th.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. Hamilton, Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So Lewis Hamilton gets pole position from Max Verstappen, Bottas P3, Vettel P4, Albon P5, Leclerc P6, so normal top 6. Raikkonen, with his debut in Haas, gets P7. We get P11, but it doesn't matter, we're going to be lost anyway, and we'll start on the fresh rubber on the soft compound tyres. And yeah, I feel like the race is going to be very exciting to see, and we're gonna hopefully gonna finish in the points towards the end of the race. So yeah, let's go see what we can do when we get into the race now.
And a very warm welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, an event that has decided a drivers' championship 11 times over the years and has hosted some very memorable races as well. Who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's win from 17th on the grid in 2005, or Kamui Kobayashi's incredible drive to a podium in 2012. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson joins me here to talk about the recent changes to the driver lineup. Let's start by getting your take on Romain Grosjean. They've just moved to Alfa Romeo. How do you think they'll get on?
Well, I think this came as something of a surprise to most of us, but it could end up being a bit of a coup for the team. Getting a driver with experience higher up in the field might just be the boost they need, and I'm sure they'll be a big asset as the team continues to develop their car.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Vettel, Alexander Albon and Leclerc, Raikkonen, Perez, Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Daniel Kvyat and Stroll, Gasly, Norris, Nico Hülkenberg. They've taken a grid penalty, and George Russell, Grosjean and Stevens. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So here we are for the Japanese Grand Prix, and we're about to get underway. It's going to be a one-stop race, of course, as it has been for the whole of the season so far. We're going to pit on lap 7 and finish off the last stint on the medium compound tyre. I've got the setup already, and I've got the fuel already, and it should be a really, really good race. So yeah, let's get into it, and hopefully we're going to get a really, really good start. But it's going to be difficult because the drivers around us are very quick, and we weren't looking too quick in qualifying or the practice. We have now got 3 lights, we've got 4 lights, we've got 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. We get a pretty good start, and then we get a lot of wheel spin towards the end of the start, and now we're going to try and get up behind Grosjean, but it doesn't look like we're quite going to do it. And we're just going to have to stick in behind the Alfa Romeo driver for now, the newly announced Alfa Romeo driver anyway, and he's going to be parking his bus right in front of us. Hulkenberg got a pretty bad start from becoming a P17, I believe, but we got massive oversteer or understeer going through the S's, and if you get a little bit of understeer, that's pretty much your S's done for. So you kind of need to try and protect the inside line, and you need to try and, it doesn't matter how much you brake, you need to keep the line so you don't get overtaken. Going into the hairpin now, we're going to try and overtake Grosjean, because all the drivers go really slowly into here, and we get past Grosjean for now, and it seems like we've got the move completely done, so that's pretty good. Going into the hairpin there, Jeff saying good start, and now we're going to be moving on towards the end of the lap, and now we're going to see what we can do into the final chicane. We're going to brake later than Hulkenberg, and we're going to switch to the inside, lock up a lot, but we do get past the German driver, and we're now up into P18, and we're going to try and carry on our adventure to the points. And now we're going to move on to the end of this lap, and we're right up behind the likes of Russell now. And let's see what we can do on our teammate now, going through 130R. Now we're setting green sector times, but as expected it's on lap 2, and now we're going to try and go for a big boy dive bomb into the chicane, and it seems like we've got it done. He's stuck his nose in there. We've had to go a little bit wide coming out the final corner, but we do get it done, and we get a massive oversteer moment, and luckily we keep the car under control. DRS is now available to all of the drivers, but I don't think we're going to quite get it this lap. And Russell almost tries to go around the outside. We have to keep the inside line after protecting it at the start, and it seems like we've got a little bit of a messed up line, but yeah, we're now up into P17, and now it's time to catch the likes of Gasly and the other Toro Rosso of so what's his name, Kvyat, and I believe Lando Norris too. So let's see what we can do in the next couple of laps. We're going to try and keep it in low ERS modes, because if we keep it in low ERS modes, it's more likely that we're gonna eventually get the points finished. Now moving on towards the end of the lap, and Gasly, we're right up behind him. We're going to go for a big boy dive bomb into the chicane, and we hit Norris's rear end. It doesn't give us much space there, and no respect at all. But we do keep our front wing, and we do get ahead of Gasly, and now we're in the DRS of Norris. But luckily we get the move done, and we're now going to move on to lap 4 at the end of it, in the middle of it, sorry, and we're going to go into the hairpin, and we're going to try and make a move on Norris. He pushes us right towards the apex. We do get the move done into the hairpin, and now we're going to be chasing after Kvyat for P14 in this Grand Prix. We're going to keep the same strategy as we are on lap 7, now moving into the chicane. Going into the chicane on lap 4, we're going to go around the outside of Kvyat. He's going to give us a little bit of a nudge, but we do get the move done, and that is us up into P14. And now we'll be catching the likes of Stroll, Magnussen, and I believe that's Sainz, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let's see if we can catch those guys in the next lap or two. Now going through the first couple of corners, and it seems like we've got that pretty nailed now. But the CSs that I really struggle with, simply because you're losing the rear end everywhere if you try and go a little bit on the throttle, so it's quite annoying through here. We do go a little bit, get a bit of understeer going through there, but it seems like we're going to be able to catch Stroll in the next couple of laps. And now we're going to move on to lap 6, and we've got Giovinazzi up ahead of us now, so Stroll has overtaken him. We're not going to go down the inside spoon because it's just a little bit too risky, So we're going to wait a little bit. We're going to go out wide, get on the throttle earlier, and we're going to have a big boy run on Giovinazzi. Now we're going to go down the back straight, and it seems like we've got past him and we've fully cleared him now, and we're going to go through 130R with the perfect line. And we're up into P13 and only 3 positions away from the points places, and that'll be good to see if we can get that done. And now we're going to move onto the lap 7 lap, which is where we're going to pit. And so let's see if we can get a good enough pit stop to jump a few drivers, because it seems like a few of these drivers will not be pitting this lap because their tyres, I don't think are that worn, but mine seem pretty old. So we're going to chuck some new boots on towards the end of the lap. But Sainz and Stroll seem to have pretty good pace, and every time through that corner we seem to get understeer. But we're going to move on to the end of this lap now, and we're going to go into the final chicane. I'm not going to try and make a move on Sainz, it's just too risky, and we're going to the pit lane anyway this lap. So we're going to enter the pit lane now and get a big swipe of understeer going across this Suzuka bump. We're now in the pit lane, and let's see what kind of pit stop we can do. We're rolling down the pit lane. We got, I believe, Kimi coming out ahead of us, and Perez also. And it seems like we got a 1.8 second pit stop like we do every single time. So the boys doing a really good job, Santi would say, the boys. And we're now leaving the pit lane, and we've just got Giovinazzi behind us. And let's see how many drivers we can jump in the pit lane, because I think we might just be able to get past at least 2 of the likes of Stroll and I believe it was Sainz, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to be going through Suzuka S's, and it seems like we actually got that pretty planted, so the new boots proving a good strategy to do. And we're going to move on to the final part of this lap now, or final part of lap 8, and braking into the chicane. Don't see anyone ahead of us, so I'm going to assume that we're not going to be able to jump any drivers. We are going to come across the line now, and let's see what the drivers are, where they are. Some of them are leaving the pit lane, and we've got Stroll coming out right ahead of us. We're going to try and brake early and try and go down the inside going into turn 2. Great move from us there, up into P13 for now. I believe it's going to be P11 by the time everyone else is pitted. But what a move on Stroll, and Stroll will be crying to his dad about that one all night. And yeah, we're going to move on into lap 10, I think. Yeah, we're going to move on to lap 11 now. We're on the back of Magnussen, and we're going to try and make a big boy dive bomb into the chicane if we don't need to. We're going to go down the back straight now. We've got in overtake mode in the rich mix. We're going to go down the inside now. We do fully clear him before 130R, and that is some good move there. And we're going to break into the chicane. Nicely done there, and we're up into points finish. So if I can keep in this position, I'll be super happy with this result. And we're going to cross the line, and we do set a quicker lap time, so that is our quickest lap of the race, and I believe that will be our finishing lap time. But we're going to move on to the end of the last lap. Valtteri Bottas has got the win, so he's going to close down that championship lead once again. Great performance from him. We're going to go through 130R. Magnussen is not close enough into near us, and we're going to come home in P10 as long as we don't mess up the Suzuka bump. We don't seem like we have, so we're going to cross the line in P10. Grazie ragazzi, Forza Williams.
Top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, tyre management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Stevens. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So it's another Mercedes 1-2 here in the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. Max Verstappen gets P3, Vettel P4, Leclerc P5, Albon P6, Ricciardo P7, Raikkonen P8 in his debut for Haas. We get P10, so a really good result from us, taking Magnussen on the final couple of laps of the Grand Prix. Our teammate does an okay job, finishing only ahead of Grosjean, who's not liking his new surroundings in Alfa Romeo. We're going to look at the drivers' standings now, and it seems like we're going to be sticking in P7. So I guess a really nice result from us today, and we're still about 7 points ahead of him. So that is it for today's episode. If you did enjoy, please press the like, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, subscribe because the F1 2020 is right around the corner. And yeah, see you guys in a video probably tomorrow, and yeah, goodbye.